Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to our latest explainer. Today we're unpacking a really massive shift that's happening right at the edge of our oceans. We're looking at how traditional, heavy, labor-intensive seaports are completely transforming. They're going from simple, massive slabs of concrete where ships just tie up into these incredibly advanced, highly automated, smart hubs living in the cloud. It's a fascinating journey, so let's jump right in.
Here is a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll start with the smart port revolution, then break down the 8-layer blueprint. After that, we'll look at a tale of two titans, Rotterdam, the connected ecosystem, and Shanghai, the automated giant. And finally, we'll wrap up with the road ahead.
All right, part 1, the smart port revolution.
International commercial ports are no longer just these static parking lots for ships. Think about it for a second. Have you ever actually wondered how millions of tons of cargo move around the world without just utter chaos? The laptop you're using right now, the clothes you're wearing, the components inside your car, almost all of it likely pass through a massive commercial port. There's this invisible system at work making sure your everyday purchases actually arrive safely and on time.
So, the crucial point here is what we actually mean by digital transformation in a maritime context. Well, it's a fundamental overhaul. It's about changing a traditional port into a smart, connected, automated, green, and highly data-driven logistics hub. We're not just talking about putting a few more computers in an office. It's utilizing advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, and ultra-fast 5G. We are literally talking about digitizing everything, from tracking the vessels coming in to managing the complex energy grids that power those giant cranes.
Moving on to part 2, the 8-layer blueprint. To really wrap our heads around how these giant digital ecosystems function, we need to look at the universal blueprint that makes them tick. Now, what's really interesting here is how this visualizes the modern port, almost like a giant computer. Down at layer 1, right at the bottom, you have the physical infrastructure, the literal concrete, the berths, the yards. But as you move up that stack, it gets increasingly digital, culminating all the way at the top with a sustainability layer focused entirely on green energy and carbon monitoring.
Let's simplify that massive stack into a few major evolutionary steps. You start with step 1, the physical world of berths and roads. Then, step 2 acts kind of like the port's central nervous system, bringing in 5G networks and big data to connect absolutely everything. Next up is step 3, the intelligence layer. This is where the port gets a brain, using AI and digital twins to predict and optimize operations entirely without human intervention. And finally, step 4 is where all this tech serves a higher purpose: sustainability. It's about managing energy and lowering emissions. Basically, those data and intelligence layers are what breathe life into the physical machinery.
Now for part 3, Rotterdam, the connected ecosystem. To bring this out of the abstract, let's look at a real-world titan, Rotterdam. This is Europe's largest seaport, and they handled an astonishing 435.8 million tons of cargo in 2024 alone. When you look at their customized digital structure, you can see how it naturally builds on that universal blueprint we just talked about. But notice how Rotterdam completely customizes its intelligence and data layers around their specific port-based system. For them, it isn't just about massive machines, it's about creating a highly connected stakeholder ecosystem. They prioritize community data sharing above almost everything else, making sure customs, shipping lines, and truck drivers are all seamlessly talking to each other through one unified digital platform. A huge cornerstone of Rotterdam's approach is what's known as a digital twin. Imagine having a living, breathing virtual clone of the actual port right on a screen. It actively combines live data from physical sensors, vessels, local weather conditions, and logistics. Rotterdam relies heavily on this twin to track ships and run complex simulations. It actually lets port authorities predict congestion and test out emergency scenarios in the virtual world, way before anything goes wrong in the real world.
And here is why all this tech matters. Far beyond just moving boxes faster, it's about radically shrinking the carbon footprint of global shipping. Rotterdam is an absolute pioneer in green logistics. For instance, they use a platform called Port Exchange to optimize just-in-time arrivals. This means massive cargo ships aren't just sitting there idling outside the port, burning heavy, dirty fuel. They also use a tool called Route Scanner, which lets logistics planners compare transport routes to find the greenest possible option. So by making the port smarter, they are directly contributing to a much cleaner environment.
Let's transition to part 4, Shanghai, the automated giant.
We're moving across the globe to Shanghai to see how this builds into something totally different. Shanghai is another absolute titan, but it has a distinctly different operational personality. Where Rotterdam emphasizes that community ecosystem, Shanghai's blueprint heavily emphasizes unparalleled, massive automation. Looking at their tech setup, you see a huge focus on remote-controlled 5G equipment, intelligent operating systems, and even blockchain integration. The whole thing is built to move a literal ocean of containers 24/7 with almost zero human presence out on the actual docks.
So let's demystify exactly how Shanghai pulls this off, specifically at their Yangshan Phase 4 terminal. Human interaction there is mostly confined to control towers. Out on the docks, the ITOS, the Intelligent Terminal Operating System, acts as the smart brain, handling all the logistics planning. That brain then speaks directly to the ECS, the Equipment Control System, which provides millisecond-level collaborative control to an entire army of AGVs, or Automated Guided Vehicles. These AGVs tirelessly transport containers around the clock in this beautifully, completely unmanned, synchronized ballet. It's really something else. To maintain its status as a top-tier global shipping center, Shanghai leverages some highly specific, cutting-edge edge tech. They use the Beidou navigation satellite system for hyper-accurate positioning of all those automated vehicles. They deploy incredibly robust 5G and industrial LTE networks to guarantee low-latency control of heavy cranes. Because trust me, a millisecond delay absolutely matters when you're swinging a multi-ton container through the air. They are also rolling out blockchain to secure logistics data and prevent document fraud.
And that brings us to part 5, the road ahead.
Let's bring these two incredible case studies together. And this brilliantly illustrates something crucial. There is more than one way to build a smart port. On one hand, Rotterdam focuses on a connected stakeholder ecosystem, community data sharing through Portbase, and simulating the future with their digital twin. On the other hand, Shanghai focuses on massive automated scale, intelligent equipment control, and unified 24/7 unmanned operations. Both are highly successful, proving that solutions have to be customized to the very specific needs and scale of the region.
But look, we have to keep in mind that this digital transformation is not just a magic fix. It is an ongoing, incredibly expensive struggle. We're talking staggering capital investment costs to buy all this tech, plus there's the monumental headache of trying to integrate decades-old physical concrete systems with bleeding-edge AI. And as everything gets connected, cybersecurity risks just skyrocket, because frankly, a multi-ton hacked crane going rogue is a terrifying disaster. Add to that the huge barriers of getting competing organizations to share their data and the massive need for workforce retraining. It's a tall order.
Which leaves me with a final, provocative thought for you. We've seen how these traditional ports are shifting from concrete to the cloud. As these multi-billion-dollar ecosystems become entirely automated, highly predictive, and perfectly connected, how will this invisible digital ballet happening right at the edge of the ocean change the resilience of your everyday life? So the very next time you click order online, just remember the massive, AI-driven digital giants working tirelessly across the globe to bring that box to your door. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll see you next time.